Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Welcome back to the TCO radio studio. The Minnesota Vikings are 13-2. The Minnesota Vikings have won 8 consecutive games and hooked the Green Bay Packers 3:25 Central this Sunday from the palatial purple paradise known as U.S. Bank Stadium. And the head coach joins us now. Merry Christmas, my man, and thanks for all you do for so many. Merry
Christmas to you and everybody out there listening. Very appreciative to our fans and the fact that I get a chance to be the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
Amen. Wow. Speaking of being head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, we're going to get into that momentarily. But your wife and or wives during the holiday season, really year round, but like during
my multiple wives, or
no,
the way your
wife or wives of people listening right now. All right, 3-2. That's MVP stuff right there during the holiday season. Seriously, just think about it.
I mean, and the way she, like, we try to do a lot of things for the folks here in the building as well. And
nice.
And, the tasks she has for coaches and families and some of our support staff and everybody that helps make this go. It's a great time of year to say thank you. How much you respect the jobs that they all do for you. And Leah and I have always looked at this as such a blessing and an opportunity to impact people in a positive way. And we're so fortunate to be around all the great folks that we are. And that's not even talking about the fact that we've got 4 kids expecting a dynamite Christmas at home. And I may have a late night tonight when I get home, putting some things together, doll houses, and making sure the Lego sets are in order and whatever else.
With all due respect, and it's a great dad thing to do, but why don't you have somebody put that together for you?
Well, it's funny you say that.
Let's get your dad, Bill, in town.
Reinforcements arrived yesterday.
Oh, so Bill came to town?
Bill is in town. He's currently here.
Well, he's listening right now. Great.
He is absolutely 100% listening, Dad. It's great to have you here. I have not seen him yet, but
I'm more of a Suzanne guy, but but that's okay.
That's a popular take.
Yeah, that's part of the wife and or wives. Speaking of your wife, Do you think Dan Patrick would ask your wife, quote, you're favored to win MVP wife of the year? Why do you think you should win it? Because I was watching that interview last week and it was so weird how he kept pushing you. And I love Dan. He's radio immortality. And Dan is radio immortality. But he kept pushing you to explain why you think you should win. It was weird.
Finally, I just started voting for everybody else. It was I got backed into a corner, and
what you said about Dan Campbell was cool.
I'm lucky I don't have a vote because I voted for basically everybody else in the category. So no, it was PA. I continue to just be thankful that. It's good. It's a good thing to be in that conversation, and it's totally accredited to our players and our coaches. I've had an absolute blast coaching this team. It's been a journey and a ride from the very first day, very first team meeting. I know I say that a lot, but when you're a coach and you have this master plan for, hey, what it's going to be like in December, you can't start out talking about that. It's got to progressively build with the right principles, and sometimes they are tired cliches. I understand that, but when you get guys to systematically, slowly build up that belief and it becomes ingrained in who we are as a team, that's when coaching the team feels like we've got an opportunity to go out and win every game we play. Why? It's because the things we do to prepare for games, it's what we do to try to improve after games, and then when that ball gets kicked off, it's a cold-blooded, just absolute belief that we're going to find a way in that 60 minutes to get it done.
Yeah, and no matter how much respect you have for somebody or they have for you.
Always.
Like I said, what you said about Dan Campbell and Mike Tomlin was super cool. But with Dan Campbell, you're going to face that team in a couple of weeks and everything for the regular season could be on the line. I know we're 1-0 guys, so I'm not going Kevin Seifert on it, but off the Dan Campbell reference, and I love Kevin too, he's writing immortality. All right, 3-2. is from a coaching standpoint, when you have 22 injuries and 12 lost for the season, and you're losing the Aiden Hutchinsons and David Montgomerys, and you went through 4 quarterbacks last year.
Yeah,
it's the level of respect that I could tell you had for your constituent, for a guy you're going to be battling for many years, to be able to keep it together. I know they got blown out by the Bills, but to be able to keep it together, I mean, that's challenging, isn't it?
It is, and I think anytime you look at there's 31 other guys that do the job that I'm attempting to do, and I think the best coaches in this league are the ones that do it authentically their way, and so you can have respect and you can really have admiration for your competitors. You want to beat them. You want to beat them every time you play them, and you're going to do everything in your power to get your team to do that, and they're going to do the same. It's going to be ultra competitive. Our whole division our division's been the best division of football because of the players and coaches that are in this division.
Yep.
And there's we saw. Obviously, the team we're playing this week played last night and played very well. And, the Lions are going to find a way to always play to their foundations and their principles. They've got some great coordinators on both sides of the ball. So if I was to sit here and not have respect for them, I think I would be doing a disservice to the weight at which we put into our preparation for those games to try to make sure we're going to be at our best to go win what inevitably will feel like playoff games here down the stretch.
Speaking of preparation for games, it's all right. So Green Bay shuts out New Orleans last night, only shutout of the season. So we had some Spencer Rattler terrorism, nationally televised game, the whole thing. So obviously you're going to look at more than Green Bay, New Orleans. Obviously you're going to look at a lot of things from this year, but do you go back like previous seasons sometimes to like watch a certain team against another certain team? What I'm getting at here is Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson showed off. Ran that stumble bomb bit, and he said whatever that play is, and he's like, well, yeah, in September of 2023, I'm watching the Bears, and I see Jordan Love take a snap and fumble it, pick it up, and hit somebody for 37. September of 23, you say? That's part of the job, right?
Yeah, especially when coaching staffs have been in place, or a coordinator that maybe was elevated but was on that staff at that time, because we're all products of our experiences, people we've worked with, systems we've worked in. I think that's one of the cool things about this building is when you think offensively, we have a guy like Brian Angelico who coached for the Packers before joining us in Washington, and so he was exposed to some of those years with Aaron Rodgers, how they did certain things. He has information that can be applied to the think tank that allows us to maybe craft or build our way of doing something, maybe similar, maybe different. You're always watching the tape. You're always watching principles of plays that hit PA against your opponents, because you might not do it the same way, but you're trying to attack the same principles of the things that they attacked to get the play in. And then you got to think about, okay, well, that worked versus this coverage.
Yeah.
What's our answer if they play this, or we get pressure off that edge, or potentially it could be a time in the game, depending on the down, where you've got to have an all-out pressure answer. And so it's much more than just always the start of an idea is always the sweet spot. And if we can get that called, and it's my job to try to get that called versus the intended look based upon how the game's playing out and where I think I might get certain coverages. But we also have to have contingency plans, which are what we fill a lot of our time talking about with Sam, so he knows what to do with the football if it's not exactly perfect. And his ability to handle that this year, some of our best plays have come via those conversations of him being able to make it right by finding completions, extending drives, even explosives.
When the communication system went down at Seattle, you got the formation in, as I heard in the press conference, and Darnold runs for a first down to your side of the field, and then he gets the next play. Did he run that way purposely? Thinking, hey, if we don't have if I got to tap my ear holes again, let's go over there and get it's not that fast right now, right?
No, he luckily he called the play that was similar to what I was calling, but it was because there was only so many things in that kind of no huddle formation we were running. So he had a 1 in 5 chance of being right. He was not right, but he called a play that was absolutely applicable in that moment, and I think he had the feel of it, like good quarterbacks do. If it's not there, if this doesn't feel right, I'm going to use my athleticism and go get as much as I can, and if I happen to be standing next to the head coach when I walk back on the field and he can tell me the next play, that'd be good too. So we checked a lot of boxes in that one.
Right. Well, I mean, Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, 9 to noon on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, everybody. Perhaps there's serendipity from it. Perhaps there is a positive that transpired from a negative. I mean, he's playing fast right now. He got a first down on the play. Maybe it's his opportunity to call the game like Peyton Manning.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, you got it, man.
Step back, do the whole knee thing, hands out.
We're probably a few weeks away from that, but I would not discount it.
Understood.
We'll just say check with Sam.
Yep. I'm going to make this a long one, so go ahead and take a swig so we avoid coughing-related terrorism.
By the way.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
God bless you.
Cheers.
And Merry Christmas to you and your family. Andrew Van Ginkel, NFC Defensive Player of the Week. My sources tell me Andrew Van Ginkel, NFC Defensive Player.
That's supposed to be my news to break right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you deem it the A topic? We should have started with that instead of making fun of Dan Patrick trying to get you to. Well,
I won't see Andrew for another 3 hours here. So,
Dan, I should be Coach of the Year because of this, and this on the fan. Well, anyway, the 2 sacks came late.
Huge.
And you know, it's, I asked Andrew about this with my drive-bys in the locker room after, and like he swung inside, he twisted inside. And I'm like, do you do that a lot? I mean, you know, maybe I'm watching back memorizing numbers and stuff like that, but I guess I haven't seen it that much. Andrew's so genuine and so humble and so team first. He's like, I don't even know if I want to talk about scheme. And I'm like, Andrew, I'm not asking about scheme. I'm just asking, do you sweep inside frequently? Because it seemed to work. You know, those were big plays.
Yeah, he, what I've noticed here, is he's getting healthy again, and I wouldn't discount Dallas Turner and Patrick Jones, and even some of the times I think Bo Richter got some snaps late in the Atlanta game. We've been able to get some other bodies in there and not have those guys play like 90, 80, 95% of the games. So over the course of the season, there's some bumps and bruises here and there, but he felt like he had his pop back the other day as far as a rusher, because so many of his rushes, he finishes straining, and if the coverage can be locked in on the back end and we make a quarterback take 2 or 3 hitches, normally 58 or 43 are getting home. Right around the quarterback, and I thought there were some great examples of that. He had a couple Van Ginkel-esque plays dropping, kind of reading exactly where the screen was going to go. He even taught Jonathan Grenard how to do it there late in the game when he sniffed out that screen that kind of knocked him back from a 1st and 5 to a 2nd and 11, and then we were able to get off the field. So just all of the defensive performance. Really outside of 2 or 3 drives there, they really provided us with a great path to really compete on the road and have a chance to win that game. And what we wanted was a chance. I told our guys right when they scored, we were going down for a touchdown, and it just was a matter of how long it would take us to go down there and do it. But our guys have that kind of confidence right now in those gotta-have-it moments, weighty downs in the situational world, that we're going to go get it done.
When you say Justin Jefferson is good, quote, finding open grass, end quote, what does that mean?
It just means at this point in time, if Justin ran, the standard stock routes, and what I mean by that is if he was just, hey, he's got an in cut, I'm lined up outside the numbers, I'm going to start down, I'm going to get 12 to 14, I'm going to put my foot down and run an in cut. There's a good chance that frustration will mount if, okay, he's the single receiver, the corner's they're gonna check to a 2-man based coverage just to Justin, so the corner's gonna play hard inside leverage, he's gonna have a safety over the top. Justin's gonna eventually get frustrated. So what we've tried to do is build a world where we can have really, really locked in, dialed in concepts with Justin to have some freedom to play off of some of those leverages or
options.
He basically is running variations of option routes where the defense, they can be right, but they can only be right by population. So if they've got 3 over there, normally that's when TJ Jordan or Jalen Naylor will come to life on the other side. If Justin's aligned with other Vikings, we're normally putting him in certain spots to really dictate the entire vision point for Sam of how the coverage will declare. It's a whole bunch of ways that we've just, a lot of times in 22 and in parts of 23, we were trying to come up with those on the sidelines. But at this point in time, we've got a lot of mechanisms in our offense to move them everywhere, motion them everywhere, different snap points, and then ultimately give him the ability to kind of find that open grass and then pair it with like concepts so that it's not an outlier for Sam if Justin's not going to be the throw.
Honestly, option routes freak me out. And here's why. Because it seems like telepathy is needed to know exactly what's going to happen. And when I say they freak me out, I know I'm being childlike with that, but like with option routes, meaning the receiver, the skill guy, has the option of going left or right or whatever, but this stuff's going fast.
Yep.
He has his back to the quarterback. He doesn't know what the rush looks like. And then the quarterback with the telepathic ways has to know which way he's going when he throws it. Did I explain that the right way?
Yeah, and whether
that's hard,
and a lot of times Sam has a role in it too, based upon we don't know the coverage intentions until we get to the line of scrimmage. So there's some things we can do. There's some things we can do, not giving away the whole world.
I got you,
but there's some things we can do to make sure that they're on the same page. And then there's other times where it is a post snap decision by him, and some of our biggest plays we've hit really over the last couple years have been some of those post-snap things where I could tell, every single one of our opponents out there right now, I could teach them the play, and they would still probably have a hard time stopping the play because of the way we attack whatever the final look and presentation of the defense is.
So when the game winner takes place, Darnold avoids pressure, steps up, doesn't exactly set his feet to throw it.
Unbelievable throw.
Unbelievable arm strength on that throw and accuracy. And so here's Justin, and when he finds open grass, he's a problem. He sees the open grass left. He and Darnold, I'm going to throw it there. And that's kind of just simplistically how it works.
And I think the demeanor and body position of the safety, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did have Jalen Naylor going vertical down the middle of the field to try to provide just enough, kind of eye candy for that boundary side safety to where he either would have to declare his intentions to Justin or he would feel potentially Speedy. He tried to do a little bit of both, body presence to Justin, eyes on Speedy, and Sam was able to make that throw. I thought it was spectacular.
Yeah, as did I, and the fans. So is it safe to say, are you expecting Ivan Pace Jr. back for the next one, and maybe Jalen Redmond too?
I think it's very safe to say that. Now we haven't, IP's window is going to open up, and he'll be a part of, meetings and a walkthrough today, and then we'll have our full practices on Thursday and Friday.
Got it.
We'll fully know. And anytime a guy is coming off of injured reserve, from that temporary stay, he's done a ton of work. He's in shape. They've worked him off to the side, but he's got to get back into football a little bit. And we want to make sure IP's ready to go, and I'm sure he will be. But at this point, it's very likely. But I can't say for sure. And with Jalen Redmond, he's feeling better. He's progressing through the protocol. All systems look like they're go. But once again, you got to allow that process to play out here through the rest of the week, but came out of the game really healthy with a lot of guys that played. Really, Fabian Moreau was the only guy still dealing with a little hip flexor deal that kept him out last week. We'll see how he progresses as well, but outside of those guys, we feel like we're very fortunate to have a full allotment. Would love Christian Darrisaw to come running back through the tunnel anytime soon. We'll take that if you can work that out.
How about approaching Christmas? This stage of the season, 8 in a row, 13-2, and we get to ask a Jalen Redmond question.
That's right.
I mean, okay, so he had the 2 passes defensed a couple of games ago. That was fantastic. Tackles for loss. But from a run defense standpoint into this game, thinking, all right, Ivan Pace Jr., oh yeah, Jalen Redmond, who got himself pretty good against the run. I just think it's fantastic, coming from where he was with Carolina, then an injury, and then cut, and then working his way up. We got a Jalen Redmond question right in front of Christmas, and it really matters.
Yeah, I think it speaks to, basically Ivan Payson a year ago as an undrafted free agent,
Yep.
and an incredibly impactful player. And then, I think it speaks to Brian Flores, his defense, our personnel department identifying a guy that we thought could come in here and really have a chance to compete and grow, and that's really what he's done. And he just keeps getting better and better and better. The athleticism, the natural athletic ability is there. He's an explosive movement player, which can be a really added bonus. I know every single week we really worry about those interior D linemen when they've got truly impactful movement skills, the hand usage, all the things that we worry about for the D line with our guys inside offensively. So he's provided some of that, and he also plays really well within the scheme, using that athleticism to help us really do what we do best, which is we're moving, we're blitzing, we're doing different things up front to try to never ever be a sitting target for that offensive line.
All right, let's wrap it up with talk back and a couple of questions for the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. First, a Talk Back Tuesday.
Skol Vikings. This is Paco from Marshall, Minnesota. And my question for Coach O'Connell is, with the NFL being such a tough place to create a winning culture year after year, what do you look in this time and season as we get closer to the wrapping up the regular season and into the playoffs? What do you celebrate? What are you grateful for within the organization of the Minnesota Vikings?
Paco, that's a good question. I think first and foremost, what I'm most thankful for is the opportunity that I have to positively impact a lot of people, both in and out of our organization. I take that very seriously. I think it's why I'm in this role, and I take a lot of pride in that. Secondly, I'm very thankful for our players. I'm very thankful for our coaching staff. I'm very thankful for them being willing to trust in me and trust in a lot of the things that I spend a lot of time on throughout the off seasons, and really trying to envision, and you never want to get into the prediction business as a head coach, but sometimes you slide close to that line, preaching what you believe can and will happen if we're willing to do the things that good football teams do, if we can build a world-class one-of-one culture in this building, if these players can have the player ownership to care so much about something and care so much about each other that they're willing to do anything to continue to compete and protect that on a week in and week out basis. That's why when we go in that locker room after winning football games, it feels the way it does, because we've got the right kind of guys. We've got the right intentions as a team. I think we're a talented team, and I think we love playing together. So we're going to go try to be a problem for everybody we play, because, once you get to this place as a team, you really don't have any sort of doubt as long as we play to our standard and play for each other, prepare the right way. We're going to have a chance to win every football game we play, and that's how these guys think. It's what they believe, and it's been a process driving itself from the very beginning of this journey starting. It's been a hard year, obviously, with some of the things that took place in the off season. I could not be in this role without all the great people that I get to be around every single day, including you, PA.
Aw.
Including you.
One of those players, in this last game that unless special teamers mess up, you don't generally talk about them. Ryan Wright. I mean, the 4 punts inside the 20.
Unbelievable.
The last one, you needed to breathe at that stage of the game. By the way, props to Lumenfield. Props to the 12s. Yep. They're 16 and 18, and their last 34 at home. That was unbelievably loud late in that game. So a lot of Vikings fans too. So prop to that fan base. But Ryan Wright, with those punts inside the 20, man. How badly did you need that?
We really went into the game talking about four things. Obviously turnovers mattering, the rushing battle. We talked about penalties. I one of the things I'm most proud of this year is we're now 6-1 on the road, and in those 6 wins, we've had less penalties than the home team playing. Wow. And I think that's been critical. That's clean football. That's dealing with adversity. That's communicating at an elite, world-class level. But then the last thing was field position. I really did think winning that field position battle would be a huge part of determining little things in a close game that would give us the outcome we were looking for. And Ryan had a huge huge role in that, as well as Brandon Powell, making great decisions back there. We got a touchback where, their guy fielded the ball at the 6. Brandon makes the decision to let it go into the end zone, and we end up with a 14-yard swing right there. And then that last one was probably one of the more critical punts he's had all season when we absolutely had to have it.
How is Green Bay's rush since Preston Smith left? I know you played him week 4, but I mean that's a big trade right there during the course of a season. So how is their rush, Green Bay's rush?
Yeah, I think Van Ness has really come on. I think that was, you always as an opposing team, you think, man, Preston Smith, that's a guy we always really had to focus on and feature in our scouting reports and know where he is. So they must feel good about, Van Ness and 55 as well. They must feel good about those guys, and you can see why when you turn on the tape.
Edger and Cooper?
Playing really hard, playing really consistent, strain, finish, really coming into his own as a young pass rusher. So going to be a challenge for sure. And ultimately, I think that, anytime Rashawn Gary's on the field, you always have to have a real mindset of making sure he doesn't wreck the game. So never forget about Kenny Clark inside. Every time we play him, I shake his hand after the game and tell him you're one of the most underrated football players in our entire league, and I got a ton of respect for you.
Last one, I promise. Now it's about Sam Darnold. Now, while Sam Darnold should be praised absolutely for the plays that he's making, is it as much praiseworthy for the cheese he's not taking, for the tricks he's not falling for? Oh,
I think so. I mean, listen, Sam Darnold he's always been talented. He's always made some pretty impressive throws in every game he's ever played in. It's been about how he's played the quarterback position from a technique and fundamental standpoint, rhythm and timing standpoint, pocket movement standpoint, doing the little things that quarterbacks get coached to do, but when the bullets are flying on Sunday, they don't exactly always show up consistently.
Right.
That's been what has really defined Sam's year, and then using his athleticism at the right time, stealing us a first down here and there, getting off schedule against the Falcons for a huge touchdown. And then there's the plays where he's simply just flipping it out to Johnny Munt in the flat for a gain of 9. C.J. Ham for a gain of 9. Should have been 10 the other day. I don't know why it wasn't. But just those little plays here and there. Aaron Jones on a check down for 15 when the defense floods the coverage into where we're trying to attack from a play pass standpoint. It's all of those plays that just sequentially add up to really good football. And then you get to those third downs, and that's when, those money downs, you've got to try to find a way to execute at a really high level. And we score touchdowns on that opening drive with a 4th down conversion, a 3rd down conversion to Justin, and then we score on the next play to Jordan, all by just, not overly complicated things for the quarterback, but back foot hits, balls out, decisive, location, all the things that I love about quarterback play, and Sam's been making it come to life.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. God bless you, man. I appreciate you, and look forward to these chats every week.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, 9 to noon returns after this. Season is what they say in the business. The con. What do you have up your tattered sleeve right now?
Well, if you missed it in the open, it's our patented annual 12 Days of a Vikings Christmas. This year's rendition as fantastic as ever. So let's just fire this thing off here and have some fun to finish up 9 to noon. Dramatic pause. What a show today. Here we go.
With this thing. Christmas 13 and 2. This is terrific. On the first day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me a year. The mission is Mardi Gras. On the second day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a year. The mission is Mardi Gras. On the third day of Christmas, our Vikings gave to us 3 sacks for Cashman, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a year doing the gritty in the Crescent City. On the fourth day of Christmas, our Vikings gave to us 4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for cash money, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a year doing the gritty in the Crescent City. Aw, yeah. On the 5th day of Christmas, our Vikings gave to us high fives for O'Connell. Woo! 4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashy, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a rookie kicker who's unbelievable. The Alabama kid just never misses. On the 6th day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me 6 picks for Beamer,
5 rushing TDs for Aaron Jones. It's showtime.
Showtime. 4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashman, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a year the mission is Mardi Gras. On the 7th day of Christmas, our Vikings gave to us 7 sacks for Pat Jones, 6 picks for Beamer, high fives for O'Connell.
Let's extend him.
4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashman, 2 times we smacked them Bears, and a year the mission is Mardi Gras. I like this one. On the 8th day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me 8 straight wins and counting, 7 sacks for Pat Jones, 6 picks for Beamer,
5 rushing TDs for AJ.
4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashman, 2 times we smacked those Bears, and a year doing the gritty in the Crescent City. On the 9th day of Christmas, our Vikings gave to us 9 one-score games, 8 straight wins and counting, 7 sacks for Pat Jones, 6 picks for Beamer, high fives for O'Connell.
Coach of the year.
4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashman, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a rookie kicker everybody loves. On the 10th day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me 10 TDs for JJ, 9 one-score games, 8 straight wins and counting, 7 sacks for Pat Jones, 6 picks for Beamer,
5 rushing scores for Jonesy. Showtime.
4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for cash money, 2 times we smack wobbles Bears, and a year the mission is Mardi Gras. On the 11th day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me 11 Van Ginkel sacks, 10 TDs for JJ, 9 one-score games, 8 straight wins and counting, 7 sacks for Pat Jones, 6 picks for Beamer, high fives for O'Connell.
TCO Tuesdays.
4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashman, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and a rookie kicker. Let's just give him a 10-year extension. I mean, he hit a super long extra point. On the 12th day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me 12 Lions done for the season, 11 Van Ginkel sacks, 10 TDs for JJ, 9 one-score games, 8 straight wins and counting, 7 sacks for Pat Jones, 6 picks for Beamer,
5 rushing TDs for Aaron Jones. We love you, AJ.
4 games from Parker Romo, 3 sacks for Cashy, 2 times we smacked the Bears, and maybe this is a year the mission is Mardi Gras. But we go 1 game at a time. We like Kevin O'Connell says, we go 1 game at a time. And the next one is Green Bay. So it sure would be nice to get 9 in a row, 4B flow. 9 in a row, 4B flow.
You know, the strengths and weaknesses of, you know, the right tackle, the left tackle. Sometimes he rushes inside, so he's really kind of working on everybody. You know, both guards, the center, right tackle. Sometimes he ends up on a back, so he's watching all these guys. What are their strengths,
presser,
what are their weaknesses
right now.
What opportunities may present themselves for him to rush, where he'd be rushing from. You know, there were a couple pressures he had last week where he's working with somebody else on a game. So there's a lot that goes into it, just coming from a mental standpoint. And then, you know, just working the drills, working his get off, his pass rush moves, you know, creating more of an arsenal for himself. I think you put all those things together over, you know, a number of years, which is he's done. He's kind of in a place now where I think things have slowed down for him, and when he gets those opportunities, he really, I think he's done a really good job of taking advantage of them.
And the sacks are so delightful. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. We'll be right back.
I can't wait until tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow might very well be too late. I can't wait until tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow.
Gareth Savage, thank you very much for guiding the great ship Love Covenant on Christmas Eve, and a Merry Christmas to you and your family. Likewise for everybody who listens to FM 100.3 KFAN. Whenever you do, and that includes those abroad via the free iHeartRadio app. I mean, it's the team's popping tags right now. It's won 8 in a row. 4th longest winning streak in the history of the team. The quarterback is losing communication with the head coach and running for first downs to the side of the field where the head coach happens to be, so he can get the next play and more first downs. And Andrew Van Ginkel is the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Ryan Wright's plopping 4 inside the 20. O'Connell's loving that. And the Alabama rookie is hitting 48-yard extra points.
Yeah.
Where's the kryptonite? What's the kryptonite here? What do we got to start thinking about? And good morning.
And good morning. I was thinking about it. I haven't gone at it from a kryptonite standpoint.
I haven't either.
Really enjoying week to week to week, trying to make 8-0, 9 in a row. Mm-hmm. I'm curious with Van Ginkel, NFC Defensive Player of the Week, 11 sacks. Jonathan Grenard, 11 sacks. If you remember 2 years ago, and I know it was different, it was Donatel the whole bit, and it ended sadly against the Giants. But it's amazing how in a very short period of time, 2 years later, we're talking about a tandem in Van Ginkel and Grenard that are actually a little
historically strong.
A little bit, I would say, more functional within the 3-4 defense, more productive, even then. And this is without. I want to say that I love Daniil Hunter during his time here. Wish it would have ended better in some ways with Za'Darius, but all the same, remember that dynamic duo and what we have now with Van Ginkel and with Grenard. Like, that's something really special. And the fact that we were able to put that together in a measured spending spree this spring,
right?
And we're able to celebrate a guy with 10+ sacks and 2 defensive touchdowns, like the second time that's happened in 30-some years. This is just fantastic, and I'm loving it.
A measured spending spree. I love that term because it's accurate, because it took Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and this group a year and change to get the salary cap right. So they're not digging between couch cushions for nickels and dimes trying to find somebody. And it was a measured spending spree, which plays into the Darnold conversation. If that pops up en route to church or coming back from church or with your Christmas Eve dinner or Christmas Day with the family, what's next for Sam is the measured spending spree part of its key, because shipping all in on a quarterback, let's just say for a Cousins-esque deal with 100 promised and whatever a season.
Yeah.
Well, that eliminates the measured spending sprees.
Correct.
So that's why you draft a quarterback in the first round. That's why you maneuver the low risk, potentially high reward Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is on our practice squad. I mean, Sam Darnold, smart. Daniel Jones, smart. Jones moves. Darnold moves. Darnold, nice arm. Jones, nice arm. Both former first-round picks who had it rough at the early stages of their career. So he's just sitting off on the side chilling. But to ship all in on one of those 5-year deals, it doesn't eliminate, but it really compromises the measured spending spree.
Yeah, it's going to be so tricky whenever this season ends, to start to turn the page. But I'm not turning the page to that yet. Next up for Sam Darnold with me, let's hunt down 40 TDs. Let's get this border battle. Let's drop 40 on Aaron Glenn and that Lions defense.
One game at a time, 1-0.
1-0 championship season, week 17 against the Packers.
Sky Yuma and Skull Vikings.
325 and handle business in the border battle. That's what's next up.
Yeah.
That's what it's trying to figure out, how we can navigate Jefferson down the field, how we can get things going. Aaron Jones, can he do a bank vault against his former team? Like, that's what I'm thinking about. Stopping Josh Jacobs backups. Let's put them on the worst game of the season on Sunday during this border battle. That's what's next.
And just giving thanks for this distraction in our lives at 13-2, because let's not forget, we're about a year removed from Jaron Hall starting a game against Green Bay. And it was bad. He got pulled at halftime, and the Vikings got killed. This team ain't that. Merry Christmas, everybody. God bless all of you. On behalf of 9 to Noon and KFAN and Nordo, I'm Paul Allen. Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful day.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee, so you say,
"Hey Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
"Hey Meta, play hip-hop music."
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
"Hey Meta, call Eva."
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, "Hey Meta," to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.